CP3.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network. Thank you, gentlemen.
Crank it up, Pedro.
I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the village, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the village, she giving me sex.
Heineke, nice throw, and he's got a first down to DeAndre Carter. Had his first NFL touchdown reception against Denver a couple of weeks ago. Did very well against Washington. There's Brady underneath. Oh, that's out of the hands of Garden. And William Jackson flies in, putting it away.
Spend so much, gotta get it some more. When they hands out, I just give them a no.
Right here. And so you're just turning around, showing your numbers to the quarterback. Now look at Curl. Break on this. Cameron Curl, perfect on the break. Got to secure the ball. And there's Jackson on the spot to recover since day one of this league.
Do I just really need help?
Brady rifles back. It's a two-pick first quarter for Tom Brady. And it's Bobby McCain with the interception.
We ain't never got a five. Nigga, just pay your tax. Call me the mayor. I gotta break up.
Pressure Tampa Bay.
I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash.
And bringing it. Heineke well protected to the end zone. Carter, the touch, and Washington has its largest lead of the season.
Understanding what the coverage is, you're going to press out here, so you've got inside leverage in a man-to-man situation with Delaney, so you press into him, and then you work to the corner right there. Heineke reads it perfectly, and what a throw.
Two backs with Heineke to start this series. Heineke down the middle, tipped into the hands of Carter. Jordan Whitehead got a hand on it, but that ricocheted right into the hands of Carter for 22 yards. Downhill run for Gibson, and a strong one at that. The best of the day for Washington. Inside the Tampa Bay 40-yard line, 15 yards.
He could eat eggs off your head. He's way taller than you.
Here's Heineke. It is complete for a first down inside the 35, and John Bates, longest reception of his career at 19 yards, first down. Antonio Gibson on the move for Washington. He picks up a dozen yards to set up third down and one for Taylor Heineke and the football team. Trying to push forward. Still on the move. What an effort. Touchdown, Washington. Gibson would not
inside. You see Heineke make the fake right there to hold the back end, and beautifully executed this offensive line all day.
That's right. It's Monday night. Sports on the Hill podcast, True Radio Network, special birthday edition, Victory Monday. Washington football team pulls the upset that I predicted was going to happen. A lot of folks, especially sports media, gave them no chance, and it was hilarious watching all the coverage before the game and how they were saying Tampa was going to get right after the loss that they had the week before the bye, and Washington was in shambles. And today I'm watching the shows, and they barely even mentioned how well the Washington football team played. They talked about Bruce Arians' post-game press conference and showed like two highlights from the game. I'm like, really? That's why I love having Sports on the Hill, because we want to break it down in the bottom half of the hour. We got Dujane chiming in. We're going to break down this victory and see what's in store for this team next week. Going against Carolina with the resurgent Cam Newton back at quarterback, so you know what all the storylines are going to be this week. Then after we give you our football coverage, we're going to bring in the NBA roundtable to break down this Eastern Conference leading Washington Wizards, who are actually in a live game right now and attempting to come back. When I turned the game on, they were down about 15 in the third quarter. They're currently down 3 points, 90 to 87 in the fourth quarter with 8:17 left. As I said, they're leading the Eastern Conference with a 9-3 record. Yes, I'm actually watching NBA basketball again. That's how good the Wizards have been playing, that they have me watching basketball again. Also had the Monday Night Football game on with Anna's favorite team, the 49ers, playing against the Rams. They're currently up 21-7, looking to pull the upset. There's been a lot of upsets in the NFL the past couple of weeks, and San Fran's looking to pull the upset tonight with the Rams signing Deshaun Jackson after they lost Robert Woods, and he was supposed to be the spark to help get that offense going back with Sean McVay. But San Fran looks like they're looking to play spoiler tonight on Monday Night Football. But Anna, how are you doing tonight?
100% doing awesome with this Niners game so far. But most importantly, glad to share this birthday celebration with you. Cheers.
Appreciate it. Yeah, the big 4-4, getting a little up there, but, aging like fine wine, you know how it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm older than you, so I definitely know how that is.
Yeah,
so that's good. That's good. Well, I will say I watched all of that Washington football game yesterday, and I couldn't have been happier for you guys. So that was a fantastic win for Washington.
Yeah, it was a hell of a weekend all for DC sports teams. Went perfect. The Wizards went 3-0. The Capitals went 4-0, and the Washington Wizards, pulled the upset in Week 10 coming off the bye. So yeah, it was a pretty good sports weekend for me. I had a little fun Saturday night after I got off of work. Probably a little bit too hard. I didn't get in the house about 5 in the morning. That's why there was no pregame show before the game yesterday, but there was a postgame show because, I think I had a little bit too much fun at the bar when folks ain't seen me in a while, and so everybody was buying me drinks. And
I believe we still do refer to that with the Seinfeld episodes as the cocktail flu.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a hell of a flu, boy. If everybody paid for drinks for me, I still left out there with a $200 tab. I don't know how that happened.
No, what? At this point, who cares? Life's short.
Yeah, I was like, so yeah, it was a good day for Washington sports. So let's go ahead and recap this. And it never fails. It never fails. Somebody has to call during the show. If it's not at the bar ready on Sunday, it's on my show tonight. But I'll call them back later. Go over quick before, we weren't on the air last week. So going to do a quick recap of the 0-2-1 week that led up to this 4-0 week, because we're not going to dwell on the past and the negative things in life. We're going to talk about the good things. The week before, they lost to Tampa 3-2. The next game, they lost to Florida 5-4. In the following game, they got outplayed by Philly 2-1. They had a rough stretch those 3 games. They were not scoring. I think they were on averaging like 2 goals a game. They were giving up 4. They were losing face-offs badly, and they were just getting outplayed. But they were still recovering from the Oshie injury and Nick Dow being out. and mentioned that he got a contract extension, a 3-year extension he signed. He hopefully should be back in the lineup soon. But
Yep.
yeah, that week was yeah, like I said, that was in the past. We're not going to dwell on it. They played hard. Like I said, they were all 1 goal games and losses. They got 1 point out of the possible six, but then they bounced back this week and got all 8 points that was available. So we're not going to talk about that week anymore. And let's go ahead and get into that Buffalo game.
Absolutely. So here we go with the Capitals versus the Buffalo Sabres, which was just last Monday when we were on. So Wilson opens up the scoring with a tip in at 2:13, assisted by Ovi and TVR. Second period, McMichael scores his second at 2:30, assisted by Schultz and Haglin. Buffalo scores at 3:43 to make it a 2-1. But then here we go with the captain scoring his 11th with a tip and an 8:55 assist by Orloff and Kuzi. Just history in the making, and I love it. Third period, Buffalo scores at 3:17 to make it 3-2. Wilson gets a second of the night, assisted by Kuzi and John Carlson. And then second of the night, assisted by Kuzi. And then John Carlson scores his third at 17:47, assisted by Kuzi and Ovi with a power play goal. And then the final at 18:56 with from Buffalo, but the Caps still won 5-3. And I know I did see on some chirping on social media that people found this game to be quite boring. Not quite sure why, because I think they just assumed Buffalo was just a meh team. And Gil and I spoke yesterday on Power Play just to say that this is not a team to take lightly. It's not even so much that they are rebuilding or they're young or whatever it is. They're just a team that should not be, just, oh, we've got this, or they're no good. That just the simple fact that they were able to tie it up 3-3 into the second was impressive, and just a team that you just can't count out. I don't know how far they'll go this season, but upcoming seasons, they're definitely going to be a team to keep on your radar.
Yeah, definitely. Buffalo has been a team that's been trying to rebuild for the longest time. They finally got some stability in their front office, and they have youth, they have speed, they have skill. They're just putting it all together. And it's taking a little bit longer than most would have wanted, but it's coming together. The Caps have a great record against Buffalo. I think they're like 13, 11-2 in the last 13 games against them. So I mean, excuse me, they pretty much have their number, but they're definitely a team that's building and getting better. Excuse me, we saw that with Detroit, a couple of years. Detroit's been, on the cusp of rebuilding, and you see how tough they're playing now. We played them this past week, about to go into that game. They, Capitals handled them pretty well, but, they're still a tough team. So teams are developing there. The league is getting more and more parity, and they starting to, you see more teams doing the same things to make their teams better. Basically, the Capitals formula, get the skill, build the defense up, and get the scoring, play solid defense. Like I said, I love Barry Trotz because they saw it happen with the Capitals. How many times they had all this offensive skill, but couldn't put it together. But until Trotz came in and instilled defense to go along with that offense, and now you have a lot of teams doing that same thing. So Buffalo's definitely on the rise to make some noise in the coming future.
Absolutely. To me, I don't know how people could say it was a boring game. I didn't think that at all. I was like,
fans
all right, those are those couch coaches that I like to call them that just want to, look at everything in a negative. And I thought it was a great game, and I love to see, whomever scored, good on them. It's exactly what we wanted to see. So moving on, I don't know, Carol, if you had a chance to see any of these games, did you have a chance to see this Detroit game by any chance?
Oh, yes, I did. That was a very, very interesting game, and I always love defense, and it was a very defensive game. Detroit was, playing their best to, try to get the win and keeping the Capitals honest. They were doing a lot of back checking. They were hustling to the puck, and they didn't make it easy for the Capitals, and the Capitals had to stick with their game plan the whole game. Didn't deviate from it and played a whole 200 feet and found a way to get the win.
Absolutely. And I think like the best part about all of that was you have Zach Fucali, or however you want to say his last name, coming up to play his first NHL game and to get a shutout. And it's, what an awesome story. I love stories like that, and a very humbled player and hardworking player, and just kicked ass out there. I mean, 21 shots blocked. Yeah, like how often is it that you're called up for the for the NHL to play goalie and then also to get a shutout? So I mean, to me that was spectacular. But just to sum up the game, because it was just a 2-zip game with the Capitals winning, you have Orlov scoring. This is by Kuzi and Ovi. And then we see the Tiger, Lars Eller, getting his first, assisted by Jensen. So that was good. I mean, and again, no cause for alarm with Lars Eller, but it was, I think, for me, it was a nice relief to kind of see him at least on the board, because we know that no one wants that kind of hanging over them of how come he's not scoring. We know he can score. We know he's a damn good player. So that was good. That was good. And I enjoyed that game. And I think that I would be surprised that we're going to see Fucali up in the lineup soon. Like, see more games from him. I just think he just had a fantastic game, and well deserved on his end for sure.
Oh, most definitely. He played a great game and a goal. The team defense was amazing around him. He said pretty much the same thing in his post game, that the defense was amazing. He was pretty much speechless, with the path that it took for him to get to the pros and to actually get a shutout in his first start, and the first time in Capitals franchise history that started. So that meant a lot, and I think that that start for him helped, I guess, fuel Samsonov in his next start, because he definitely impressed me in the game after that when he played in goal. But he can't graze over the quality job that I can't pronounce it.
Fucali.
Yeah, I don't want to say it wrong. That he played well in goal, and with Lars, it was only a matter of time. And that was a very sick goal that he had on a semi breakaway top corner snipe. And secondary scoring is key, but you're not going to get it all at the beginning of the season. And we saw in a run in 2018, we started getting that secondary scoring later in the season, and then that's when things started to click. So you don't want to have everything clicking at the beginning of the season. And so now we have a full season. So some people are going to get started slower than others. You see Garnet Hathaway, he's last couple of games he's on fire. He hasn't been known for scoring, but the last 2 games he has 3 goals. So I mean, you're getting the secondary scoring, you're going to get it in pieces and bunches, and then hopefully towards the end of the year you'll start to get more consistently and from different pieces, and you're still getting your top line scoring, and then you're hitting your stride at the right time. So fans are going to be fans. They're not going to be satisfied unless it's 7-0. Obi had a hat trick every game, and every goalie has a shutout every night.
Which is ridiculous. And it could be Fucal, like it's ridiculous. I've heard so many different versions, and we just call him Zach. It's a great goalie. But again, not a terrible problem for the Capitals to have with Sammy Vanacek and Zach in the between the pipes. It's it's a good thing to have. So I'll take it versus other concerns where we were all talking about injuries and Backstrom, and then Kempney's out, and then all that kind of stuff. In this sense, it's like, hey, let's just look at the positive. This and he's not a kid. Like, he's he earned like 7-8 years playing prior to coming into the NHL. So good on him, and humbled, and I think it just rallied the team to do that much better. So I absolutely love that. That was it was a great game, and it was a great after post-game show interviews and everything else. But moving on, I know we're on a time restriction, so we have here we go with Columbus Blue Jackets on Friday. So the Blue Jackets do score first at 2:33, but at 10:19, Alex Ovechkin gets his 12th and hits his 742 passing Brett Hull for the 4th in the NHL history. Like, I just, you just got to take a moment there to say, again, history in the making, and bravo to the captain. Like, this guy, GOAT, and I don't even know what you could say after that. Just it is fantastic to watch. Second period, you have Hathaway scoring his first of 2 goals at 24 seconds, and then again at 7:23 to give the Caps a 3-1 lead. Columbus scores 2 times to close out the second period to tie it up, but then Sherry scores at 18:38 to to bring the Caps up for a 4-3 win into the third. And hey, Robbie, it's good to see you.
Well,
hello.
Just jumped in the building. We was breaking down the Columbus game, and that was a good game. Also, the Caps had some good games this week, playing 60 minutes, playing strong 200 feet, and Columbus has been playing well, and all the teams this week that the Capitals are playing have been playing well, and the Capitals handled their business against Columbus. Robbie, I'll let you jump in since I know you just got on. How is Zach doing? Did you get him down, or did he have you tapping out?
No.
Nope, still not down. So like he is testing my last patience. You know, he's a 3-year-old. He will do that. I've tried everything. He's now just playing in his room quietly, and we're watching him on camera. So like at this point, like I was like, I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna do it, and just whenever he's ready, he'll go to sleep.
Well,
but the Wizards are on this crazy run right now.
Yeah.
And they were losing in this game, and now they're winning 101-92, a minute 16 left. And this is one of the craziest comebacks I've seen. Now, New Orleans is terrible, but the Wizards were down 17 points at one point in this game. So, like, it's still impressive to come back, obviously with defense. Minute 12 left. 101-94, and so anyway, but the Capitals, wonderful week. I liked all of the games. Of course, I don't even have my phone on me right now, but I was just running down here. But I liked all the games this week. I thought that each one of them gave us something, whether it be Tom Wilson with a bunch of goals or Ovechkin scoring some goals, having some assists, but overall just a phenomenal week. But I'll let you break down this game specifically, and then we can talk about it.
Which one?
Cause you're on the Columbus game, or are you done?
I just finished up the Columbus.
Just did the Blue Jackets game. I can do the Pens game.
Why don't you do the Penguins game? Carol, did you want to talk about the Blue Jackets game more?
No, let's go ahead and get into the Pens game, because that was definitely something we need to talk about.
Yeah, and I kept it very short. This, of course, fantastic game. So here we go. I just broke it down with the Caps goals because we had just an outstanding across the board showing. And so first period, you have Faravari scoring and Hathaway scoring, which Carol brought up. You know, he's having a fantastic season so far, and good on Garnett, like well-deserved, tough guy. And I think he's kind of breaking away from always having to fight everybody to really showing how and why he earned his spot in the NHL. Second period, you have Sprong and Sherry scoring. And then closing out the third period, you have Kuzi and Wilson. Fantastic, great Vanacek game, and a 6-1 win over the Penguins. And you can't get any better than that. Although I do wish Sidney Crosby would have received some sort of penalty. But, you know, it's not going to happen, and that's just how it goes, unfortunately. And he's still a jerk, and that's that.
Yeah, I missed what happened. I heard something. I saw something. I heard something happen, but I never saw what really.
Okay,
happened.
So I'll break it down. I mean, he basically throws Ferrari into the boards behind the play. I don't think the officials are actually looking at that direction. I think they see Sidney Crosby going that way and the puck going the other direction. They don't think anything of it. They're following. I mean, there's only. People forget this. You know, it's easy to see it when we have replays and they can show it over and over again, but you have to show where the officials on ice are and where they're viewing it. I think they just missed it, you know, which happens. Like, I mean, I'm not happy about it, but I think because they missed it, then maybe something supplemental discipline should have happened. You know, if it was Tom Wilson and the same play happened, it definitely would have, because, I mean,
exactly.
chuck somebody into a boards like that.
Well, it was, I mean, and yeah, number 42, like he took a hit. So, you know, and coming from Crosby, and of course, like, you know, the fans are, you could hear like just going crazy in the stands. But again, it almost felt like he just kind of got the slide, like, it's Crosby. But I understand, yeah, like depending on where the refs are during that, but still, it was uncalled for.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to go back to the Hathaway thing. So some people are saying it was a mistake that he wasn't the number one star. They put McMichael listed there, which would make more sense that it would have been Hathaway.
Right.
And the person was at the game, and they said they announced Hathaway, but like all of the websites have it as that he didn't get the first star, but he deserved it. I mean, what an incredible game for him in the last one, and then to carry that forward into this game, I thought was great. I thought Ovechkin having 2 assists, not being everyone always talks about him being the goal scorer, but he really was the engine that made everything move in, especially that I think in this Penguins game for sure. He was named the number 1 star of the NHL again. That's the second time this season, I believe, that he's been named number 1 star of the week, and so. Even if he didn't score a goal, he had a great game. Shout out to my friends John Benson and Liz. His girlfriend took him to only his second Caps game ever. It was her first Caps game ever. So what a first game to go to. And awesome. I know a lot of people were in the stands because it was Hockey Fights Cancer Night, which is big to a lot of our friends, including Greg, Christian, and a lot of the Facebook groups. And there's a lot of people were at that game, a lot of anniversaries. It's a Penguins game. It's a big game, and I know the Penguins aren't the Penguins of old, but still it's a rivalry game. It's Sidney Crosby's first game back after the COVID protocol. And then just that the Penguins coming back in the sprung and Sherry and scoring in that second period, I thought was awesome. So key. And then I think break down the third period.
Yeah, no, it was Kuzi, the Kuzi and Wilson goals, which again, like, good on Kuzi. For me, I'm supporting him. He definitely was thrown under the bus, and people, frustrated fans watching number 92 when you know that there's potential. But man, he has really proven himself this season, and I feel like he's been quite consistent, which is great. And then of course there's, I never have anything negative to say about Tommy, so.
Yeah, phenomenal. And I just happy. I mean, Crosby didn't get penalized for the one they did, but then he got another penalty. He was fuming, and so with that penalty, we made him pay for it with a 6th goal, which I'm happy that we kind of made him pay a little bit on the scoreboard at least for it. But just a wonderful, wonderful game and a wonderful week for you, Carol. I mean, I haven't said it yet on this show, but happy birthday! And to celebrate a perfect Caps week going into it, we couldn't have asked for anything better than that. So what were your thoughts on that Penguins game?
Man, it was a great to see, especially after the Washington football team victory, seeing them dominate off the break, starting with a shorthanded goal, not even 5 minutes into the game, and then continuing to get the push. Penguins, they still missing some players. They was getting back Crosby. They playing, they still playing decent hockey. I think they're like 6th or 7th in the division. Still got 14 points and playing tough hockey. They have a top power play, penalty kill unit. And, Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, but to see the Capitals pretty much dominate from start to end in all facets of the game, the Penguins had a push early. After they got the shorthanded goal, they were trying to push back. They got the late goal at the end of the first, and, you'll normally be worried about, them coming back, whatever, but the Capitals didn't let up and kept pushing forward and put 6 on the board and said that was the largest margin of victory since like 2014 with the Capitals Penguins series. So it was definitely a good game to see. Ovi, with that slap pass was beautiful. He's finally getting recognized for some of his passing skills. I heard the analyst actually say he was channeling his inner Nicky Backstrom on that pass. He's been missing Nicky, so he said that he's been trying to make some plays like Nicky because he's been missing him. So just wait till you get Nicky back. Wait till you get dialed back, and you have these young guys, getting experience on the ice and playing well. And then I have to do this, Anna. I have to give shout out to Dmitry Orlov. Him and Jensen, that pair yesterday was ridiculous. They were shutting down everything. He's not making those boneheaded mistakes anymore. he's become a top defensive guy on his team. So I always talk trash about a player, but when they improve, I'm gonna give them kudos too. So Robbie, just because you came on, I have to give your man Dimitri Orlov a shout out to them.
There you go.
I love it. Yeah, that's I'm excited. I think everyone has stepped up, right? I mean, there's all these young guys in the lineup, and all these older guys have taken them in their wings, and so it's Wizards just won, which an incredible come from behind victory. I know that the team they played against only had 2 wins, but still, when you're number 1 and it's a trap game, all holds are off. So that's a good big win for the Wizards. We'll talk about later in the Wizards roundtable. But I'm just so happy about the beating the Penguins and just not giving up and being ruthless. And just a really big wins for the Wizards all week long, the Caps all week long, Washington football team, which we're about to get into. We got the big victory as well. We have a big week upcoming for the Caps. It's our road swing out west, so I hate that because all the games are at 10 o'clock at night. But Anna, do you want to go over the game's schedule real quick?
Sure. So we have Tuesday night against Anaheim. Then Wednesday night over the 101, as we say, against the LA Kings, and then Saturday against the Sharks. I don't know. The records so far are pretty impressive. So I have a feeling it's going to be some great hockey. I just know in the past that this hasn't been always the best for the Capitals on the road. But as I was telling Gil the other night, I think we can get 2 of the 3. Definitely.
We have a 4th game because the Kraken also play on Sunday.
On Sunday, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm thinking I was thinking a different schedule.
For the Power Play Point podcast.
Right.
So that'll be our first look at the Kraken, though. So that'll be interesting at 9 o'clock on Sunday as well. Carol, your quick thoughts on Ducks, Kings, Sharks, Kraken?
The West Coast swing isn't as intimidating as it used to be. They can come out of there with 3 out of 4, or come out of there 4 out of 4 and on an 8-game winning streak if they play like they played against the Penguins and the way that they played last week in general. So they keep playing the way they're playing now. They can go through that West Coast trip undefeated if they continue playing Caps hockey like they've been playing and get the solid goaltender that they've been getting.
Yeah, I think they'll go 3-1. I think they'll fall to somebody. I just don't think we've been perfect going into it to think that we'll go have 8-0 in a row. It's happened. We've had it actually not that long ago. I think last season we had a 7 or 8 game win streak. A couple seasons back had an even longer point streak. But anything is possible in hockey. Anna, your quick thoughts on the week ahead?
Yeah, no, I feel like they can take Anaheim. I do feel like the Kings might be the surprise for them. I do love the Sharks, but that's okay. I'm going to let the hometown stuff go, and I think they could take the Sharks and the Kraken. And it would be nice to see Groovy play. So I'm thinking 3-4, and I do think that it's going to be a loss against the Kings.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, I won't be able to break down that one with you guys, but I might try to see. The following week is episode 250 of this show. So in 2 weeks, it's 248 tonight, which is kind of crazy to think about. And it coincides with a live Washington football game. I was like, it's like almost destiny. I'm like, what is the chance that a football team podcast would, coincide 250 with I think it's just the only Monday Night Football game we have the whole season, right? So that's kind of random, but so that'll be an interesting show in 2 weeks that I may have to be a part of. That's too tempting. But I hope that they do well in this West Coast swing. I appreciate all the work that you do with us, Anna, and on the Power Play Point podcast. Definitely go to sportsothp.com, click our podcast partners, click Power Play Point podcast to hear more of Anna and Gil and all them over there. And appreciate you as always, Anna. We're going to get into some football talk here, but good luck to your 49ers. I don't have it on. I was about
21-7. That's all you have to know.
There you go. So,
and I'm all about George Kittle for president at this point.
So awesome. I'm happy for you. Go Niners for you for tonight.
Yes.
So.
Hi, Duchesne. And Carol, have another fantastic couple of hours left in your birthday. And Robbie, take care of that little ones. Oh, those little ones, I should say.
Yes, that's true. I've got a lot. I even have a puppy right here who's asleep next to me. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
Welcome, parenting, multitasking, right? All right, guys, take care. I will see you all next week.
All right, Anna.
All right,
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Bye.
All right. Appreciate Anna taking the time out to break down that great Capitals Talk segment. As you see, now we got Dujane in the building, so we can talk about this Washington football team putting an upset that some predicted, but a lot of folks did. And I spoke early on. I watched some of the football programs today, and none of them even really spoke about how well the football team played after they crapped on them all week and said they didn't stand a chance. And I find that ironic, but we're going to talk about it tonight. I'm going to give my quick synopsis before I let Dujane jump in there. Well, I'm going to let Robbie jump in. I know he has to go, so give his quick breakdown after that.
Well, I'm going to stay for the whole segment because I want to be part of the Wizards segment too. So
okay.
You got me for this whole segment, but I'm going to let Dujane and you break it down. But I'm here to celebrate because it's not often that you beat like world champions. It's a fun night. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about this one for sure. And but my quick early thoughts is that it was incredible. It was something I don't know though. It's like, would you trade losing your best defensive player for the season for having the most improbable victory? It's one of these crazy games that has like the person who I was the most excited about this season about, and then like, but I also never thought we would beat this team, and I don't think Carroll, give him credit, he picked them in this.
I'm not giving him no credit. They got lucky. I mean, come on now. Look at all the daggone weeks that we've looked at this football team. Because he goes every week and picks the Washington football team, no matter what, he all of a sudden gets credit.
2 weeks ago, I did go against it. I'm so bad in picking, I'm having to go against them when I think that, I'll be being optimistic, but with this game, I knew that they felt like they should have beat them last year. And after they lost, the Tampa Bay lost with going into the bye week, they were exposed. And I've said before, I'm never going to blame the refs, but when the refs aren't on Brady's side and not letting his offensive line get away with holding him, buying him time, they're an average team. And the fact that they were missing pieces, that played into it. Both of them coming off the bye. Washington's defense has been improving. The offense had been moving the ball through that previous 3 games. They had outgained each opponent. They just shut down in the red zone. So I felt like they were building up to something. And, the practice, we've seen the previous coach at the bye weeks, how the team looked. We know how Rivera is. So I have faith that they would come out of the bye looking like a real team, unlike, the previous regime when they would come out looking like the same thing before. And Del Rio made some adjustments in the defensive scheme. We actually saw some blitzing. We saw some man coverage. We didn't see any blown coverages. We saw communication. On offense, we saw people going down, but people still stepping up. DeAndre Carter, who would ever thought that he would be the playmaker that he's been the last couple of weeks? He was just signed as a punt returner, kick returner, and he is, taking the spot of we thought of Curtis Samuel or even Diami Brown as the rookie, and he's playing, lights out. So it's just like this team is building, and somebody made a comment on the post game yesterday that they're going to get hot and could possibly make a playoff run. I said, I'm not saying that, but if they continue playing like this, they got the 5 division games at the end of the season. It's not over technically. If we can see this team continue to build and play the way they played yesterday, anything's possible in my opinion. What do you think, Dujane?
I'm just glad that they showed something. I think many times in this position, they come out of bye weeks. They come into, whether you want a Sunday night football games, Monday night football games, and just lay an egg. I mean, and it looks bad. I was a little, hesitant because they had taken 2 field goals early, and I'm like, against Tom Brady, this can't be going on.
I said the same thing.
But the defense was playing well, and the defense has been playing well over the last couple of weeks. It's been the offense that hasn't, it's like they were allergic to the red zone or needed a roadmap to find the end zone. I don't know, but it was very difficult for them. And a lot of it, I've said it before, Scott Turner and his play calling, and a couple with a quarterback that is a gunslinger, and he's going to throw a couple up there. The way that they battled was pretty awesome to see offensively. I thought the defense, it seemed like they had the energy. And I've said this before. I mean, if you listen to the Not Bland show on Ghostcast, if you listen to me on the breakdown, I've said that this team, the Buccaneers, are a wild card team. I mean, how many times have we talked about that? They're a wild card team. All these people, undefeated seasons and all that nonsense, get out of here. They were a wild card team, and they at times play like a wild card team. It's just that simple. It is surprising that people aren't giving them credit. I mean, for them to come out the way they've looked offensively the last couple of weeks, I thought Scott Turner did an excellent job this week as far as the game planning. Everybody seemed to be on the same page. I believe Taylor Heineke was like 83% or 81.3% in his passing this week. I mean, you know, is it a foretell of things to come? I don't know about that. We need to see him string it together a few weeks and actually take hold of a game. But I'm gonna tell you, the most impressive thing about this football game: 1, defense; 2, 21 plays, 80 yards.
Yeah, 19 plays,
and
80 yards, 10 minutes and 24 seconds.
10 minutes and 26 seconds. That's all I'm going to say. And they went for a 4th down and punched it in. That is ninja sword to the heart and turn. It's over. I mean, you talk about taking your opponent, and it's a fight to the death, and you put them to death slowly and then drive the sword in. Bruh, that was classic. And we ain't never seen that from this team in a while. Put together a drive that just, it's been done to them a lot, though. But that was impressive, man. That was impressive.
I mentioned that on my post game yesterday. The time of possession, Washington had the ball for 39 minutes and 8 seconds. Tampa Bay only had the ball for 20 minutes and 52 seconds. The 2-1 margin. Tampa Bay was the top scoring offense in the league at 31.3 points. They were averaging over 400 yards a game in total offense. Washington held them to 273 total yards. They held them
to
40% on third down conversions, which has been an Achilles heel for this team.
Yeah.
And they went 11 for 19 on offense. Had 4 third down conversions in that 19-play, 10-minute drive. We're seeing this team improve. We're seeing this team grow. And that's what you ask for from a team. Unfortunately, it took them to get after the bye week to play the way we feel they should have been playing coming at the start of the season. Well, not say the start of the season, but at least earlier in the season. But for whatever reason it is, yesterday they put it together. They played the full 60 minutes in all 3 phases of the game. And you got to give a shout out to the new kicker. Came out there.
Old Sly.
Yeah, good old Sly. Looked confident, went out there, nailed them right down the middle, 3 field goals and an extra point, no problem. So hope some of the fans that's upset about Hopkins and everything, hope they and blew it because he blew it. I hope they're happy with but unfortunately, some fans, I have a new title for some Washington football team fans these days. They're called gloom and doom fans because we just upset the Super Bowl champions, played a dominant game, dominated throughout the whole game, and some fans still find a reason to complain. It's hilarious to me. But
you can't please everybody.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
know.
I mean? It's just one of those things.
Yeah, I'm not even
can't
going to
please everybody.
Yeah, I'm not even going to dignify with even getting on the
And I will say this, Carol. I think, everybody's like, well, the team played expected the way that they've been playing. People expected early in the season. I think what has been the problem is that there is a refusal to believe that this team is in a rebuilding mode. Because, again, like I said last year, I wasn't for that winning now and doing all those things that he wanted to win now. And I made that clear why I didn't want that to happen. First of all, the schedule, they're not ready for that. 2, you are rebuilding. you had work to do, and there's still a few pieces that need to be placed in. But this team is capable of doing what they did with all those young pieces. I mean, the offensive line played exceptionally well, and that's with guys shuffling in and out, getting banged up, dinged up, having to go out for a little bit. Um, and even when they've had to lose guys, the guys who have come in have played well on the offensive line. There's still a few pieces missing. I'm not sold on Tyler Heineke. I love the guy's moxie. I'm still not sure that guy is your full-time starter in your franchise, but he's definitely a guy that if I want to draft a quarterback, I'm okay with him, you know, holding down the fort until that guy's ready. I'll say that.
Being the stopgap.
Yes. But I really think that a lot of this comes from the fact that people just not, and it's not being put out there by the team either that this is a rebuild. And it is. It is what it is. And there's guys that, and I'll ask you in a few minutes about Landon Collins, but there's guys that are gonna have to be shuffled in and around, maybe out, and they may bring some other talent in to try to kind of shore up some of these pieces, especially at the linebacker position. But this team is building, and it takes time to do that. That was a big moment, though. That was a big moment. Now, I think something that Brian Mitchell said. Now, I want to see them get up for these other teams that in some cases they're better than. I mean, look at what they did against what I feel is the NFC East or the NFC best team in the league right now, as far as what they've been doing, and that's the Green Bay Packers. Defensively, they're wearing folks out. And look at what Washington was able to do. They didn't get it done in the red zone, obviously, but I mean they were able to move the ball against a really good defense. And offensively, I mean, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but you got to give him credit for what he's able to do, and be able to make plays to get touchdowns. They have a formidable offense, and I think right now should be considered, NFC East top team right now, the one to go after. And the Washington held their own as far as moving the ball. They played pretty good defensively. Most of that was because the offense couldn't stay out there long enough, but I mean, if they can get up like they got up for this team, which I believe they had circled on the calendar, especially Heineke. I think he had this circled on the calendar for a while. I think that taste was left. Bad taste was left in his mouth after that playoff game. They can do that week in and week out, especially for the division. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but they sure enough can make some noise and make it interesting.
Most definitely. I mean, with Heineke, to me, I gotta talk about him because he was making some boneheaded plays and boneheaded mistakes a couple of weeks ago, not even that long ago. But to see the way he played yesterday, he contained himself. He ran what he needed. He got out of bounds. He didn't put himself in jeopardy. He was hitting the underneath man. Didn't try to force it into double coverage to Terry all the time. To me, and he has a short career. He is a starter. But to me, this was his best performance, even going back to the wild card game performance. To me, this one, because he didn't turn the ball over. Granted, he had that one lucky play that bounced off the defender's hand and Carter came down with it. Like you said, you're going to get one or two of those a game, and he's going to do that. Fortunately, it turned out in our favor. But I feel like this was the best game, the most mature game as an NFL quarterback I've seen him play. Being a situation that he was in, thinking about everything going on, his previous week's performance, not getting into the red zone. He didn't press it. Like you said, those first two possessions that they got field goals, especially after the first turnover. And then they got the second turnover. And even a commentator said it. I said it on the show, Mark Schlereth. I really don't like him when he's on, some of the other networks, but he was a great commentator yesterday breaking down the game. And he said, yeah, if they don't get touchdown here, yeah, it's going to be a problem because you can't, with Tampa being a top scoring offense, you can't get field goals against that team. So the fact that they were able to, he was able to channel that, not try to do more than he should do. Had, like I say, 83% completion percentage, 110 quarterback rating. I got to take my hat off to the dude. If he can play like that, on a weekly basis, I believe he can be a franchise quarterback. The question is,
He'll
can
take
he?
it.
Yeah, oh, definitely. But can he? As you say, that's the question, and we're going to see.
That's my question. I mean, what? And I'll pose this to Washington football teams fans that are tuning into this wonderful podcast and this wonderful show. What does it take for you to say, all right, I can keep Heineke as the starter? Obviously, you want to bring in somebody that's in the helm that you're going to be able to groom, but what do you need to be able to have Taylor Heineke as your starter for another season, hands down, no question asked, and maybe think about as a long-term solution or a long-term stopgap, I should say. That's what I would like to know. What's your thoughts on that, Carol?
I mean, they're going to have to draft a quarterback at some point because, you have Kyle Allen. Fitzpatrick already said that he's probably ruled out for the rest of the season. He signed a 1-year, $10 million deal. We were hoping to see what he could do. He lasted not even a half of football. So I think they're pretty much done with that. I think they're going to go into it with Heineke and Allen, and I think they'll probably draft. They still have Montez on the practice squad. I'm not sure what their plans are for him. But I think they're going to draft a quarterback. I saw somebody posting that Mark Mayhew was at one of the college bowl games watching some folks. I don't follow college, so I'll ask you about that later. But I think he can definitely. To me he has the fight, he has the hustle, he has the one. Only thing that he's lacking is the arm strength. And a couple of times yesterday, I saw him overthrow the ball in a time where he should have had more finesse on it. And sometimes when he tried to force it to Terry, he overestimates how much arm strength he has. But I think, like I said yesterday, he had a perfect mix. He had a couple of bad throws, like you said, you're going to get. But for the most part, he only missed 6 throws, and 2 of those was drops. So, I mean, the man played it, the man balled out. If he can play like that consistently, and I think next week is going to be a hell of a test with Carolina because all the talk is going to be about Cam and playing against Rivera. And I even heard some fans talking, well, if Carolina beats the Washington football team, Rivera should get fired for not bringing in Cam earlier. I'm like, really? Oh, come on.
Nah, I mean, I get it. I think I hadn't even done a show about this. My only problem is the person that really should have brought him in. And yes, I do agree. I've been on here saying that they should have kicked the tires on Cam. But since they don't, and I understand that relationship between Rivera and Cam, I mean, and I'll look at it this way. If he brings in Cam and there's no success, he could pretty much seal his coaching career by doing so. You get what I'm saying? So as far as here in Washington. So because the fans will straight bring pitchforks and kerosene lamps and come after him if that does not work out. But I think the Saints are the ones who missed out on that one, not Washington at all. But yeah, it's gonna be a big game next week. Big game next week.
Yeah, they said I just looked. They said they're prepping him as a starter. He came in yesterday, got a touchdown on his first touch, threw a touchdown. They talking about how him and Robbie Anderson building the chemistry already. So you already hear the narrative in the sports media already. So it's definitely going to be. I can't wait to hear the spin with all of the networks and how they're going to try to spin it. And, all of them were talking about Cam shouldn't have been back in the league. Now that he's in there, they're going to try to spin it. Well, Ron Rivera should have picked him up. And, Heineke had a great game then, but they won a 4-game losing streak. If you'd have brought in Cam, you're going to hear it. So I can't.
And the same guys that didn't want to see Cam in the league, now all of a sudden he should have been somewhere. Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing from them at all. And quite frankly, I'm tired of them jumping on bandwagons that we were already on and talking about. And then they want to be like, this team should have did this and that. Y'all didn't even want to see the man in the league, so just stop.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But Robbie, let's get your take. I see you just got back on. I guess Zach had you in the headlock or something, trying not to go to sleep, making you tap out.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he's already taken my spot in the bed. So I'm just debating on whether I'm moving him later or if I'm just sleeping in the guest room. So that's a later Robbie problem.
Life
but
of a young parent.
yes, exactly. It's not. I put a lot of great pictures on Instagram if you want to see the glorious part of parenting. But if you want to know the real part, you can always DM me. There's a lot of moments for sure. But it's all good. San Francisco's going for a 50-yard field goal attempt right now, and it is good. And they take a 24-7 lead with 4:38 left in the third quarter. But overall, I'm super happy with how that game went. I'm so impressed that they were able to have a drive last for so long and the time of possession be so lopsided. Again, because that's the only way you take on a world champion is you don't let him have the ball, right? I mean, he didn't have 2 possessions at the end. He barely had 1 possession at the end, and they took all of his timeouts. They literally took every weapon that he has. Usually if he has 1 left or something, but it was just really impressive. I'm a little confused, and maybe you guys already talked about it. If you did, I'm sorry. Why did they go for 2 there and not just make it an 11-point game? I don't.
All right, this is football 101. The same reason why he went for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. Because you go for it on 4th down, if you don't get it, it's 31 seconds, no timeouts. They got to go 99 yards to get a touchdown to win the game. Now, the reason why they didn't do the 2-point conversion because if something fluke happens, say fumble the ball, they return it, they get 2 points. Then it's an 8-point game, and you're giving Brady 31 seconds with refs kind of favorable and the chance to come down and tie the game to force overtime. So in order to nip that in the bud at all, they just said, hey, we're going to do the nail down. You guys, we're going to kick the ball off to you and make sure there's no way possible in God's green earth that you can find a way to pull victory from this defeat.
Wait a minute, but isn't the extra point the safer thing? What's the chance that they're going to, so they block that? You think that
that's still a point? Hey, look.
Anything has happened against this football team, man. We've seen the most wildest stuff. And I'm not saying Washington football team or the Detroit Lions as far as that bad stuff happening, but we've seen some fluke stuff happen against this team. They did the right thing there. I mean, we've seen the crazy. It's like the same thing. I'm like, man, they got to get a touchdown here, not a field goal, because we've seen defense play well all day, and then there's some miscommunication, and there's Evans inside the 5 or the 10, and there's only 31 seconds left, yet they got plenty of time to get a touchdown. We've seen the most craziest things happen with this football team. I thought it was perfectly managed, though. It leave no stone unturned. Exactly. They did what they had to do.
But then look at halftime. Right before halftime, the face mask that extended a play that they got a field goal that gave him 3 more points of half. And they didn't even point out the face mask that he put on the defensive back before the defensive back caught his face mask. So it should have been. I saw that too. It should have been. It should have been offsetting penalties.
This league is now called the He Teasing Me League. All right, because that was not a taunting penalty against Deron Payne. I'm sorry. I'm sick of these little taunting penalties.
But yet you're allowed to run to the other end zone and do this huge dance after a pick now? I don't understand that logic. How is that not I don't...
Well, we saw the last week in Monday Night Football that taunting penalty that nobody understood was a taunting penalty that extended. It's some questionable things going on with these.
It's the He Teasing Me League.
Yeah, it's crazy. He hurt my feelings. He trying to kill me on the field, but he hurt my feelings. That's a 15-yard penalty.
Crazy. But I'm overall just super excited that they were able to pull that together, even with the heartbreak of losing your defensive. He's a captain of this team now. He's so young, and so you forget that he's the captain, but he is.
But you gotta look at how impressive that is to lose him. To have
I know, and still be able to do it,
and they don't miss a beat. That goes to show the depth that this team has now, also.
But the offense,
did you guys see the graphic?
It's huge.
Yeah. Did you guys see the graphic of, I believe it's 6 players that have had injuries in the same area of the football field?
Yeah, I did see that. It was
absolutely
Smith,
insane.
Chase, and who else was the other player?
Chase,
Ryan
Fitzpatrick,
Alex Smith and Fitzpatrick, all in the same spot.
like 6 players. Like, what the heck?
Well, I only saw
going
3.
on?
I didn't see
It's
6.
our own field is taking us down. It's crazy.
But it's new.
It's crazy.
It's new turf on there this year. They just redid the field this summer.
They did.
Yeah,
They did.
so it's not like it's bad conditions.
It's cursed. It's cursed.
Man.
Somebody need to go take some incense or something out there.
Right?
I don't know. They have a prayer service or something. I mean, I don't know what you got to do.
I think we got to move the team back to DC. I think that's the solution, right?
Or dig up all the dirt and then go get some dirt out of the city. I don't know what you need to do. That Maryland dirt, something's up.
Yeah, I saw it was 3. I didn't know it was 6. That's crazy.
Somebody done poured some Baltimore Ravens dirt on that end of the field or something.
Hey man, when they were having all those events at the stadium, man, it might have been a Cowboy fan or something might have did something to the field or something. Who knows, man?
It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy for sure.
Wild. But it was definitely, losing Chase is definitely it's gonna hurt. But I mean the way this, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I mean I said it yesterday on the post game, a lot of folks was I'm gonna go ahead and say it, bitching about excuse me, Jonathan Allen getting his extension. But if you look at the play on the field, that man is earning his money, and he's been one of the best defensive tackles in football. You might not see it on the stat sheet, but you go look at PFF, Pro Football Focus.
How about Landon Collins?
Landon Collins, I haven't zeroed in on him as much as I wanted to, him being in the box better, but I can say one thing, he's been tackling better than he hasn't been in coverage. We haven't seen any broken tackles. I think that he's playing that role, well, I think he's still resistant to be called a so-called linebacker, because even a linebacker coach said that, he doesn't coach him. He still goes to the safety coach, but he's, technically a linebacker. I mean, he's definitely playing better, but I mean, he's not worth the $17 million he's getting. So
that's what I was getting ready to ask
you.
you.
No, he's not. No, he's not worth no.
Now, that's what I was getting ready to ask you. With him playing the way he's playing, and the linebacking core not being where it needs to be, let's just say that. All right, in depth-wise. I don't know how many years he has on this contract.
I think he still has.
But do you? Because I doubt. Well, let's put it this way: if he understands where he's at in his career, he makes the adjustment on his contract.
Yeah, he better.
But do you keep him and play him there for the rest of his career as well as he's been playing? I mean, he's really kind of shored up a lot of deficiencies down there in that linebacker core. The only problem is, though, you can't use him, and you cannot have him in any type of coverage. Good offensive coordinators will scheme up some crap to have him on some kind of tight end out there or slot receiver, and he will get exposed. You get what I'm saying? But do you try to keep him, or do you realize that, hey, he ain't worth the $17 million? We had to move him to make plays. He's a little resistant. Do you let him go, or do you try to keep him because he's doing so well and helping you out?
He got to renegotiate that contract. If he don't renegotiate the contract, that $17 million, you can go get a free agent linebacker that can fill that void. If he wants to stay, like I said, if he knows what's right for him in this league, and he know that he's not a true safety anymore, and everybody knows his weakness, it'll be hopefully his agent talk to him and be like, hey, this is the best thing for you to do. Let's go ahead and take the pay cut or extend it out or whatever, redo it. But this is a good fit for you. You're playing well. You're making good money. I don't see no reason why he don't. If he doesn't want to take the pay cut, because I thought he was going to be a salary cap casualty this year, especially how well Cam Curl was playing. And we're seeing his effectiveness out there with that first hit that caused the first interception, and he hit the player as soon as the ball got there. And I think if he does that, and with the versatility and the players that they have in the secondary with Bobby McCain, who can play safety and corner, Cam, who can play safety and corner, Jamin Davis, he has great sideline-to-sideline speed. Once he starts getting more comfortable, we're starting to see him develop more, starting to feel more comfortable out there, because as I mentioned, he was a one-year starter in college, people. So it's going to take time for him to get used to the NFL speed and the NFL game. Everybody doesn't come into the NFL ready. It's called player development, people. I don't know where y'all get this idea that everybody comes into the league, NFL, ready, that if they can't hit the ground running and by week 8, they're a bust or they need to get cut or they need to get traded. I don't know. As I say all the time, when you burnt them fries at McDonald's after that third time, did they fire you? No, they put you on sweeping the floor and let you come back and try the fries later because they know they had to coach you up. Same thing with football players. So I don't know where y'all get this mentality that, as soon as they come into the league, if they can't, be an all pro and by week 2, oh, they're a bust, they need to get cut. Y'all need to cut that stuff out, y'all. Gloom and doom fans, listen to me. That's y'all new title watch for football fans, some of y'all. Gloom and doom fans, get over it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, man. I was just wanting to know what your take was on that because I like what Landon's doing right now, but the question is like I'm not willing to spend.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm the GM, I ain't willing to spend that money for him to play where he's at. And really, he should be thankful because you know what? If it was any other team as bad as he was playing, they wouldn't even give him the opportunity to play in the linebacker core. They'd have sent his butt up the road.
No doubt, he'd have been traded deadline, but he'd have been gone somewhere. They'd have took some of the salary and be like, look, just get him up out of here.
Just give me a 7th round pick. I don't care. Give me
something. I will pay half the salary. Just get his ass up out of here. We ain't got to worry about him next year. So it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, what things going down in the front office financially and players. But it's good to see the team developing. Like I said, they're improving week in and week out. Like I said, the last 3 weeks they've been outgaining their opponents on offense. Just couldn't get it done in the red zone. You saw them this week, punching in when they needed to. Let's just hope that they keep on growing. And let's go ahead and look at this Carolina game real quick. I know, Duchesne, you got to get out of here. What is your quick synopsis prediction for this game with the whole Cam Newton revelation and everything, and Carolina, handily defeating Arizona, who 2 weeks ago were undefeated, and everybody's talking about potential Super Bowl, but their quarterback Kyler Murray's hurt, and Carolina pretty much demolished them yesterday. I made a mistake of putting their defense on the bench. I lost by 5 points, and they put up 15. I'm disgusted.
Crazy.
Yeah. So what do you think about this upcoming Carolina game against Cam and the Panthers?
I don't want to be too high. They did a great job this week. It's a new week. Against Cam understands pretty much understands what Rivera likes to do. Obviously, he don't know too much, probably not too much about the defense, but Cam's a big dude, and it's going to require them to play in a sound manner. I'm not going to sit up here and say they don't have a shot. They've given themselves a shot almost every week.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every week. When they don't get egregiously behind, they've given themselves a shot every week. It's a matter of getting off the field on third down, because we do know. I'm a Cam guy, but we do know that Cam, you can make Cam make some mistakes,
mm-hmm.
And the turnovers are there to be had. Especially this being his first real game back, they're going to do some things to keep things short. And I thought last week, this past game, they did a lot of good things, keeping things in front of them. I think Washington has a good shot. This is not what we could look at and say that they will get boat raced when we looked at the Buccaneers game, but they have to put it together back to back. I think the team kind of understands what's at stake. Taylor said about the confidence level. I think it's going to be. I think they're going to put up a fight. I'm not ready to make a prediction on who's going to win though. But I'm sure you guys want to know something. So right now, I'm just going to say Washington by 3. And it could go either way. Honestly, in my opinion, it could go either way because Cam's going to be hyped for this game.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean? He's going to be hyped for this game. There's a lot of emotion running through him right now with the fact that he feels he's been disrespected by the league and by other people. He may even make up some stuff, like the great ones do, that he feel like he's been disrespected by Ron Rivera too. And the fact that, hey, man, I've been out here. You could have made the call. Like, you know what I mean? But he's back home now, and he's got a lot to prove. It's going to be important for the defense without the Predator to be as sound as they were and aggressive and hungry like they were against Tom Brady. And this is he's borderline stationary. Like he ain't no quick quarterback. So, but he's big. When he gets moving, it's like that big truck that's loaded. It's very hard to stop.
You saw,
So
you saw
it's gonna
what
be
he,
interesting.
you saw what he said after he scored the first time, and I can't
I'm
believe that. I
back.
can't believe they didn't give him a penalty for taking his helmet off to let him do it, and they
They did
penalized
give
him.
him a penalty for the. They did give him a
Oh, they
penalty for
did.
taking the helmet off.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
did.
see. I didn't know if they
They
did or
did.
not. But that man said, "I'm back," and he's back at home. It's going to be crazy down there, especially with Bird coming back to Carolina. Oh, I can't wait to hear all the storylines and narratives this week.
And don't put it past them that they don't use PJ Walker in some way, shape, or form because of his athleticism. Because see, they were doing that in the game last week. I understand he's gonna get all the stats, but I could see there being some kind of package for him. Not saying he's gonna throw the ball, but to use his athleticism as well. He's a little bit quicker than Cam. Like he's got some wheels. But I'm interested to see what happens. I think Washington's got a good shot because McCaffrey's not 100%. So it may not have the full McCaffrey 100% McCaffrey out there, but I think it's going to be a really fun game, and it's really just going to come down to just not making the big turnover that costs you. And right now, if you have to ask me though, I think it's Washington by 3 right now, because they played so well last week, and I don't want to be too caught up in that, but they put it all together for once, and if they realize where they are, what they're capable of, in a game that's they know is big, probably big for Rivera too. It's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be two teams that are gonna be real scrappy. Fans gonna get a good game, that's for sure.
Well, no doubt, it's definitely gonna be a good game. It's I can't wait to see how it goes. Like I said, all the narrative is going to get pushed around. But this team is definitely ready. I think that, like I said, they played a complete 60 minutes in all facets of the game. They know they can build off of this. This is something that they, as they said, they had this circled on the calendar. The Bucks, they went out there, answered the bell, answered the call. They had, a gut check for themselves. And I feel like they can, build off of it. Like I said, I'm not saying they're going to make a playoff run and make the playoffs. The Cowboys are playing some good ball. You can't dispute that. So right now, they're in the driver's seat. Now, if things go to favor of Washington, they continue to play well. Got the 5 division games at the end of the season. Who knows what happens, how things fall out. They just got to keep on playing good ball, playing consistent, and play who's in front of them and beat who's in front of them. So simple as that. But I know, Dujanet, you got to go. We went a little over on time. Let the folks know what you got working. I know you got the NHRA going on. I know you got the other stuff going on. Let them know what you got. Let the folks know what you got working before we get the NBA roundtable on for these Wizards that just came back and won 105 to 100 tonight to improve to 10-3.
Amazing. Working, as you can see, the Not Bland Show on Ghostcast, a Sports Journey production. We just did our final NHRA show, so go check that out. You can find the link, if you go to my Instagram stories. The link's right there. Also, you just go to Ghostcast, search Not Bland Show, and you can find it there. We also did an NFL show, surprise. We have the breakdown show coming up this week. Will drop later on in the week, and we're going to talk about these Wizards who are shocking a lot of people, man. I'm pretty excited about what the Wizards are doing, and they're putting together something great there, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Washington football team and see where they can go from here, and it'll be me and Carito on that. And that's pretty much it, man. We're just chopping at the bit. We're going to try to get some stuff going. We're going to have some interesting things coming up here soon. Working on that, trying to have some live interviews, doing some stuff different via the social media airwaves. So just stay tuned, and I'll definitely be breaking that out and letting you guys know.
All right. Appreciate it as always, man. You have a good night. Thanks for taking the time out to spread your wisdom and insight talking about this Washington football team and this great victory Monday on Sports OTHP episode 248 birthday edition. I appreciate it, bro, man. You have a good night, and I'll rap to you later on.
You too, old man. You too.
Man, hey, man, I'm aging like fine wine, baby. All right, man. You have a good night. We're going to get ready to bring in the NBA roundtable. I know we got a full slate. We got Robbie in the building. I know we got Brian. I know Arun, Tim. I think DC People's Champ in there. Hey, Champ, I've been watching wrestling while the show been on. I got all three TVs going. And man, I could say WWE getting pretty interesting right now. I know you've been watching all three of them. I don't really get into all of them, but man, I can must say I've been checking out some WWE lately. My man Randy Orton, RK Bro, which is hilarious. I love that tag team, man. But you're doing a great job with the wrestling. You got me back into wrestling, and the Wizards got me back into basketball, where I'm actually watching NBA again. I can't believe I'm saying that, man. But I'll get out the way and let you gentlemen, y'all true NBA aficionados, talk about these Eastern Conference leading Washington Wizards.
It's pretty amazing. I agree. Well, thank you, Carol. And I'll introduce our whole team. First, Brian, who will be hosting a big portion of this segment. I'm going to give some of my thoughts early on and then sort of turn it over to you to break down each of the games. But Brian, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well, Robbie. How are you doing tonight?
Good, good. It's good to see you guys. I've been watching from afar. I miss doing this weekly with you guys, but you guys have been killing it lately. So I've got my co-host right here also. She is passed out. She went to doggy day camp. But it's good to see all of you guys. Tim, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm going to bring you such exciting stats on the Wizards that dog's going to wake up.
Yes, well, that'll be impressive since it's in my headphones and she can't even. She's got very good hearing though, right? So, that's really awesome. And Champ, how are you doing?
What's going on, everybody? I'm doing great. It's been a great week for DC Sports, and it's been an even better week for wrestling. So I'm really, really in a great place right now.
And Arun, I think I still see you in here, but your camera turned itself off. Oh, there it is. How you doing tonight? Oh, you're still muted.
Not bad. Just celebrating Carol's birthday with some RG3 cake.
Nice. Yes, and happy birthday once again, CP3. You're the reason this whole thing stays afloat, especially during my paternity leave, and it's been a fun night celebrating. I'm happy. I thought that the Wizards were going to end this win streak tonight for a little while. That first half was rough. I only got to see flashes of it. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I did get to watch the big comeback here in the second half, and that was very exciting for sure. I'm going to break down my quick thoughts on the week, and then I'm going to let you guys break them down a little bit further and have like the full podcast experience. And then I'm going to jump off because my son still isn't asleep yet, which is frustrating. But life of the 3-year-old. But so when we last left off, we lost to Atlanta. Then there was a Toronto 100-109 loss, and a Memphis 115-87 victory, and that sort of sparked things. So that was a home game against Memphis. And then I'll have you guys break down the big Milwaukee win where they won 101-94, which I thought they looked really impressive against the defending champions. I'm really impressed by Denny Avdija. He's been playing phenomenal defense, top 10 in the league right now in defense, which is pretty astounding. It's going to be interesting to see. We've got a lot of injuries on this team. What happens when some of these players get healthy and who gets the bulk of the minutes? But so far defensively, the Wizards have been great because I want to list these out. Tonight was the first time that they broke 100, but Milwaukee was 94, Cleveland only allowed 94, Orlando 92, and New Orleans only allowed 100, and which is kind of shocking because they allowed 58 points in the first half. So to be able to hold them, to like 42 or whatever it was in the second half, that's pretty impressive defense when it matters most. But I loved going into Cleveland. I love the Kuzma beef that I'm sure you guys will talk about more in depth. But there's a big debate on whether LeBron won both of them their rings, but it fueled him that night, and that was pretty exciting. The Orlando, which sometimes seemed like a little bit of a trap game, but they were able to come on strong and have a really amazing third quarter in that one to kind of pull away and really show that defense. Also, I believe that was the game where in the second quarter they were able to like hold them for the last bunch of minutes scoreless to make it sort of help pull away in that quarter as well. And then this New Orleans game where they're fall apart kind of early, and I was kind of surprised, a 33-16 second quarter. But the Wizards came back, had a great third quarter, and an even better fourth quarter. So just a really impressive run by the Wizards. They've now won 5 in a row. They got Charlotte, Miami, and then another game against Miami, and then a to be determined game against Charlotte on Monday, November 22nd, which I don't understand why I don't have a time on this calendar for that.
It's 7 p.m., Robbie.
It is? That's so weird. Okay, that's good to know. It's weird that, Yahoo Sports usually is really good with schedules, and they had to be determined. So it's good. 7 o'clock for that game as well. So you guys will talk about that game live on tomorrow, or just do a post game, I guess. It would probably just be over. But overall, my thoughts were that they're really, really good. And tonight was definitely a trap game possibility, but it's really impressive for them to be at the top of the whole entire thing, at the end of the week and for Carol's birthday. But I'm going to go check on my family. I'm going to let you guys, break down your guys' thoughts as you did the last couple of weeks on each of those games. But I really wanted to tell you guys how much I appreciate all of you guys for stepping up big these last couple of weeks and in the next couple of weeks as I continue to take this paternity leave. And I might be back in 2 weeks because it's episode 250 and there's a live football game. So that might be too tempting to give up. But I know I talk to you guys every day, but it's good to see you guys in person and talk to you for a couple of minutes. But I hope that you guys have a great rest of this show. And I'll talk to you guys soon. And one more happy birthday to Carol. I know that he's listening. And we'll talk more offline. But I hope you have a great rest of the show. And I hope, Brian, you kill it in the hosting chair.
Well, thank you very much, Robbie. And once again, happy birthday to Carol. Thank you for having us all on. Hope you guys are all having a good night tonight. We're going to talk more in depth about the 3 games from this past week, but I will very quickly start with the 3 games that we missed from the week before. We did talk about the loss to the Hawks that Monday night on November 1st. The next game was that loss to the Raptors. The first night, the Wizards had worn their City Edition uniforms at home. It was a 109-100 loss at home. Tough loss, but still, it's the last time the Wizards have actually lost a game, which is pretty crazy to think. Since then, they have gone undefeated. The next game was a dominating effort against the Grizzlies. Previously, Ja Morant had been undefeated against the Wizards in his career. This was his first loss against them. At one point, the Wizards had like a 32-point lead, and to win by 115 to 87, an easy win for the Wizards in that game. And like Robbie mentioned, the win against the defending champions against the Bucks that Sunday, 101-94. Really impressive effort at home. 30 points for Bradley Beal, holding Giannis in check, I thought, down the stretch. Good effort overall for the Wizards, and just really impressed with their defense. Like Robbie said, just really impressive defensively so far. Now we'll all break down these games, these 3 last games from this week here, because they've all been really interesting. We'll start with the 97-94 win in Cleveland against the Cavaliers. Kyle Kuzma was the hero in the game. The clutch 3-point shot. He had 22 points in this game. Montrezl Harrell had 22 points off the bench as well. Bradley Beal had 15. Of course, there's the really interesting story, of course, with Kyle Kuzma and Cleveland and LeBron, and each of them saying they wouldn't have won a title without each other, which I think is pretty funny. I think it's pretty true that neither of them would have won a title without LeBron James. But Kyle Kuzma was the hero in this game for the Wizards, and Cleveland's just being salty about that. I'll go to Champ first. Champ, what were your thoughts on the Cleveland win for the Wizards?
Well, I mean, the Cleveland win was unique in the fact that that was the day that Brad found out that his grandmother had passed, and that's why he had struggled. He only had 15 points on the night, but the fact that he went out and played that game, given the fact that he found out that news, is a lot to talk about, because I've lost both of my grandmothers, and it affects you very much differently than anything. So for him to go out there and still put up 15 points with that on his mind and on his heart was insane. Kyle Kuzma, though, I mean, my goodness, man, talk about, and uh, Glenn Console says it's a lot. What onions on him to make that 3-point shot with less than 15 seconds left in the game to pretty much put them in the lead for good and to win the game and beat Cleveland to continue on the winning streak. This was a really solid win for the Wizards because, I mean, again, your leader for the most part, Bradley Beal, was like not really in the game, but everybody else stepped up when they needed to step up.
Yeah, and of course, my condolences to Bradley Beal and his family. That's obviously tough news to hear. And Beal was out for the next 2 games for the Wizards, which we'll break down next. But you could tell he wasn't obviously in the right frame of mind for this game. It's impressive that he was even able to put up 15 points with that going on for him. But yeah, still impressive overall. Tim, your thoughts on this game?
I thought this was a great comeback win that the Wizards wouldn't have had last year. Cleveland had a bit of a slow start, but then won something like 7 games in a row. So they came in very hot. Ricky Rubio had a strong game. He torched the Knicks, as you talked about, played extensively.
Yes.
He's been really strong this year. He's had a little bit of a resurgence in Cleveland. After switching teams a lot recently, he's found a good home. So, the Wizards could have easily given up in this game, I think, last year without having really good substitutions in the fourth quarter. They probably would have lost a game like this. But besides Kuzma hitting those big shots, Beal did come on strong at the end. I mean, he shot pretty badly for the game, but he made a lot of clutch shots and improved towards the end. And Harrell, another great game, down low, very strong, but just they showed the Wizards, like tonight, they showed a lot of fight, and they really didn't give up, and they definitely could have. So great to see this win, because the crowd was decent, and in crunch time they hit a lot of big shots. So you love to see that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats now for Cleveland. You mentioned Ricky Rubio and how he killed the Knicks the game before this for Cleveland. He had 37 points, a career high against the Knicks. In this game, the Wizards held Rubio to only 20 points. Much better shooting-wise, only 6 of 15 and 1 of 5 for 3. They were able to hold Cleveland's stars in check. Sexton was hurt, if I remember correctly, in the Knicks game. So that was a huge loss for Cleveland, but still, they held Cleveland in check, I thought, for the most part. Good defensive effort from the Wizards. Arun, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, really good adjustments by Unseld Jr. He chose, after Denny had a great game against the Bucks defensively, he chose to put in Corey Kispert instead, and he was pretty good off the bench. Kuzma with the huge threes; those are the dagger threes for the Cavaliers. Great defense down the stretch by the Wizards. Beal, he didn't have it really going shooting-wise, but he had 7 assists and 7 rebounds. Ricky Rubio, I think he'll go. He did pretty well, but in the fourth quarter, I think he cooled off a bit. And we did see an appearance by Taco Fall on the inbounds play, so it was good. I think whenever Taco Fall's in for an inbounds play, generally it goes against the team that has him on the inbounds play.
Yeah. It's always funny when Taco Fall makes an appearance on any appearance in the NBA. And obviously, this was an interesting night. Obviously, we talked about it with Kyle Kuzma and his beef with Cleveland, if you want to call it that. With each of them saying, they wouldn't have won a championship without LeBron. I think that's ridiculous and funny. It's true too. Neither of them would have a championship without LeBron. So Cleveland can kind of shut up with all that, in my opinion. On Saturday, after that, the Wizards had a few days off after this Cleveland win. And then they moved to Saturday. They played the Magic. and a game that honestly was not really as close as the final scoreline indicated. The Wizards won 104-92, but it really, I thought was just. I watched the highlights. I didn't watch this game live, but it really looked like it was much easier than it appeared for the Wizards. At times, it just looked much better than the Magic in this game. And I'm just looking at the stats now. Obviously, no Bradley Beal for the Wizards in this one, but Spencer Dinwiddie had 23 points. Kuzma again had 17 points and 10 rebounds. Off the bench, Harrell had 20 points as well. Just easy stuff. The Magic are not a very good team, so I thought this was a pretty easy win. I'll go to Tim first. Tim, what were your thoughts on the Magic win?
A couple of notable things. Anthony Gill is back. He played his first game, so it's nice to see him back. He played some big minutes last year. He's not really known as a great defender, but he can score points off the bench. So it's good to see him worked in. It's also good to see Kispert get some more minutes. He hasn't really scored a lot yet, but I think his offense will come around, and he's a pretty good defender. And you could tell that probably was a good pick. It's really early, but the fact that he's already kind of breaking the rotation is a good sign. And yeah, I mean, Orlando's a bad team. They were never in this game. I felt like the Wizards kind of had some extra rest on their road trip and were really antsy to get out there, and they just crushed the Magic. This game was pretty boring. It was over by the second quarter. It was the opposite of the Cleveland game, which was very, very tight. So it's kind of nice to have a feel-good game like this, but it's not. It's funny because I know even up to last year, Orlando gave Washington a lot of trouble, and I feel like that's completely over by now. So maybe the Wizards are kind of making up for all that losing streak they used to have.
Yeah, it appears that way. I mean, the Wizards have just owned the Magic lately, and the Magic just do not appear to be a very good team, even though they have beaten the Knicks one time already this year. I will say that. They do not appear to be a very good team overall. I got to own it. I'll go.
They have 6 point guards, so they're kind of a weird team.
Exactly. They're a very weird and flawed roster, that Orlando Magic side. Arun, I'll go to you next. What are your thoughts on the Magic game?
Yeah, it was pretty much a blowout. Denny actually outplayed Franz Wagner, and Mo Wagner made a 1 minute appearance for the Magic, which is pretty funny because he was on the Wizards last year. And the Magic weren't that good. They weren't good last year, and the Wizards managed to lose to them, I believe, every single game. So definitely Wes Unseld Jr. has the Wizards ready to play these at least in this one, teams that are pretty bad that they should win against. And no Bradley Beal made an even more impressive win. And with this game win, they managed to tie the wins they had without Bradley Beal all of last season. They're 2-0, and I believe they were like 2-10 last year without Bradley Beal. So that was pretty impressive.
That's good. And that goes to show you the depth that this roster has. That shows how, I mean, it's probably the deepest roster they've had in quite some time, that they can win these games without Bradley Beal. That's good. It's promising to see. Champ, I know you said you were doing, like, you said you had a stream or something on Saturday night, so you didn't really get a chance to see this game. But do you have anything to add on it?
Yeah, I was producing a live stream for AEW Full Gear with Sid, and so I didn't get to watch this game. But by looking at this, it was clear that the Wizards owned this game from beginning to end. The biggest lead that the Orlando had was 4, while the Wizards' biggest lead in this game was 25. So it was clear from the jump that this game was not even in doubt when it came to the Wizards. They played well without Bradley Beal. Dinwiddie stepped up. Kuzma stepped up with a double. Both of them had double-doubles. Harold had 20 points in 20 minutes off the bench, which shows you the type of player that he is, that he can go out in limited minutes and still go out and produce well on the offensive side of the ball. And it was just clear that the defense was the name of the game here, which is what I always preach when it comes to this team, is play defense, play defense, play defense. And they played defense, and they played well. Big win for this team on this night.
Yeah, we got to talk about how good Denny Avdia has been. I mean, he's been really good all season, especially on the defensive end. He just seems to be really efficient out there. Like he's really, like I don't know what like he's gotten much better with Wes Unseld Jr. as his head coach. It seems that's really promising to see. If you're a Wizards fan, you got to love that. And it showed in that Orlando game. All right, so on tonight's game, which extended the winning streak to 5, and again, the Wizards are at the top of the Eastern Conference. It's crazy to say they are at the top of the Eastern Conference, and a crazy comeback win tonight. Just a dramatic comeback win. Robbie declared this game over in our group chat, by the way. I'd like to point that out. Robbie said this game was over, and the Wizards came back and won. So 105 to 100 final score for the Wizards in this one. Just looking at the box score again, no Bradley Beal, but Spencer Dinwiddie absolutely stepped up for the Wizards in this game once again. 27 points starting for at point guard again. A great night for Dinwiddie. Let's see, Contavious Caldwell-Pope had 18 points as well. Harrell, another huge night off the bench with 15 points. Just another come-from-behind win. I know New Orleans is not a great team. They only have 2 wins. They had just gotten their second win before this game. Brandon Ingram had a huge game for them. He's an incredible player. He's an all-star type player for New Orleans. He had 31 points for New Orleans, but a good job overall by the Wizards to hold this Pelicans team in check and to get their 5th straight win. Champ, I'll go to you first this time. What were your thoughts on this one?
What did I say in our group chat at least twice? They never quit. And that is the team that we are seeing. They don't quit. They did not quit as they were down by 17 at halftime. And they could have easily phoned it in and be like, all right, we need to get ready for Orlando and Charlotte and whatnot. No, they came out of halftime, did not quit, kept fighting. Kuzma went out there, was huge. KCP was huge. Harrell was huge. Dinwiddie was huge. And you mentioned Denny Avdia earlier on about his defense in Orlando. His defense tonight was even better. He had some great defensive plays in this game to bring this team back. He had a great block late on in the game. This team just does not quit. They fight, they scrap, they claw. They could have phoned it in, like I just said, but they did not. They said, we're going to go out there, we're going to win this game, and they turned around and they did it. They went out and they won this game. And it was said by Robbie earlier, this was a trap game, and they did not fall for the trap. They went out there, they won in front of their home fans to extend the winning streak to 5 games and continue to be on top of the Eastern Conference and really give people have the rest of the Eastern Conference take notice that we're not a team to be trifled with, period.
Yeah, you absolutely have to be feeling good if you're a Wizards fan after this game. Just a really dramatic win against, I know New Orleans isn't a good team, but at home, you do not want to lose that game. And to come back from being down 17 like that is absolutely huge. Tim, what do you think about this one?
I just think, again, Wes Unseld Jr. is doing a great job with the roster. Like little things really add up with him to produce wins because, like, for example, he's decided, even though Aaron Holiday is really the 3rd point guard on the team, that when Beal is out, he likes to start Holiday because he realizes Neto is a great 2nd string point guard, but you don't really want to start him because then he's not a change of pace when he comes in. So to kind of have him always point guard the 2nd unit, it really messes with the other team's defense and their timing and everything because he's so quick. So, Scott Brooks never did stuff like that. Just little changes that mean a lot. Even Denny, although Ingram scored a lot, Denny was really big guarding him at the end of this game. And, just getting those matchups matters a lot. I think it's sort of crazy when you think about how good the team could have been the last few years. I mean, Brooks did get some wins and get into the playoffs, but maybe they would have went farther with a better coach. Definitely doesn't make him look good. But, just besides the comeback, it's just nice to see kind of a lot of optimism around the team. And it would have been easy for them to go into a losing streak after they got a little bit of press, but I'm glad they continued to, keep the winning streak going.
Yeah, they seem to be living up to the hype, which is good. That's promising to see. Like they haven't had a letdown yet this season. Like they've gotten up for just about every game, and that's promising to see if you're a Wizards fan. Arun, do you have anything to add about the Pelicans win?
Yeah, really good job by Wes Unseld Jr. He made the adjustment of going away from the high screen and roll and operating the offense more to the side. Jonas Valanciunas, he was 6 of 6 from the field, and then he didn't make a single field goal after that, 6 of 12, but he did get to the free throw line. But Harrell with the huge turnover down the stretch, taking that charge. Satoransky and Temple, former Wizards, making their appearances. Satoransky, I think Denny tipped off Harrell on one play when he was shooting a free throw, so Satoransky had 2 turnovers. Temple with 2 really awful fouls, I believe, on 3-point shots. Denny really shut down he contained Brandon Ingram, 9 of 23. Also did a good job on Josh Hart, 3 of 13 from the field, including a really nice block. They're calling him Denitentiary, which is pretty cool. And the Pelicans, they're not as bad as their 2-13 record because they just got Brandon Ingram back, but this is a game that Washington should win, and it's good that they were able to come back and win this game without Bradley Beal.
Yeah, definitely. And they should be getting Bradley Beal back as they head into this stretch of upcoming games, which we'll preview now. We'll preview the next 4 games. It's similar to a couple weeks ago when we had 4 games with 2 opponents. It's 4 games against 2 opponents. The first game is Wednesday. It's in Charlotte. It's against the Hornets. That's 7 o'clock on Wednesday, and then they play. The Wizards will play the next night, 7:30. It's in Miami against the Heat. Then they'll have Friday off, and then they'll play the Heat again. Except this time it'll be in DC. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off in DC at Capital One Arena. And then on Monday we'll obviously be doing a show next Monday, but there will be a Wizards game next Monday. It's in DC. It's against the Charlotte Hornets. It's at 7 o'clock. So, again, 4 games against 2 opponents. I guess we can each preview one. I'll go to Arun first. Arun, which game do you want to preview first?
I'll talk about the first game against the Hornets. They actually just came off a really good win against the Golden State Warriors, who only have 2 losses for the season. So I guess the Wizards are closer to the number 1 overall seed in the NBA, but the Hornets have given the Wizards some problems. Although I think the last time they played was in a potential play at the end of the year when the Wizards with the opportunity to clinch the 8th seed. So that was good that they came away with the win. But Charlotte's pretty interesting. I think Gordon Hayward is still healthy. Terry Rozier was a monster in the second half of that game against the Warriors. I believe he had 20 points in the second half. And LaMelo Ball, he's probably going to get a max contract once his rookie contract is over. So he's the rookie of the year winner. So it'll be interesting to see if the Wizards can drop an effective game plan, and hopefully Beal will be back for that game.
Yeah, and also the Hornets also beat the Knicks on Friday night in Charlotte. And they were actually down by 15 against the Knicks, and they came back in that game. So they're an impressive team. They have a talented squad. I'll be interested to see how that game goes. That'll be an impressive test for this Wizards team, I think. Tim, I'll go to you next. Which game do you want?
I'll do the next one on the schedule at the Heat the next night, Thursday, back-to-back in Miami.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Heat are one of the best teams in the East. They got Lowry. They were already a good playoff team. I guess they're fired up from the big tussle, the Morris brothers against the Jokic brothers. So
yes,
they have a lot of, attention around their team, both positive because they've been winning a lot of games, and negative because they had that scrap and they had some fines and stuff. So, I mean, that's going to be a really tough game for the Wizards. Just to play tired after traveling 2 road games in a row it's really hard for me to predict a win there, but you never know. I mean, they won a game like tonight. They probably will keep it close, but Miami's very deep, and they've got a ton of scoring. So I think that game in Miami is going to be very tough. I'm not, I would really like a split for the Wizards in those games, just with the schedule. But I guess we'll see. It'll be a good game to watch.
Yeah, I know Markieff Morris is a former Wizard, and he played really well when he was on the Wizards, but I was not a huge fan of what he did to Jokic, and I think that's an easy, like, if I'm Jokic, I take that suspension any day of the week. Like, that's like what suspension I'm totally willing to take. Yeah, totally willing to take that. Just take that one for sure. Totally worth it. So Champ, I'll go to you next. You have your choice. You can talk about either the next game against the Heat, or honestly, you can talk about both if you want. Go ahead. Which one do you want to talk about?
Well, no, I'll talk about the next game against the Heat only because there's a certain name that sticks out that I talked about when the Heat went on their run in the bubble. And that name is Tyler Hero. I talked about him. I talked him up, and people kind of ignored it. But now he currently averages almost 22 points a game during this season. So he is going to be someone that this Wizards defense is going to have to keep an eye on, because he showed a lot of great flashes during that playoff run that the Heat had in the bubble back in 2020. So that's someone they're going to keep an eye on. Yes, they're looking at having back-to-back road games going into this home game, but I really feel like if they can contain Tyler Hero and they can contain this Heat offense and play some great defense and put up some good scoring, I think that even if they get a split in this back-to-back road trip, I think that they can come into DC and get a victory and continue this really, really hot start that they have. But the key is Tyler Hero has got to be kept in check. Point blank, period.
Yeah, I could see them for sure splitting these games against the Heat. I think that these are two very potent teams that are very comparable in the Eastern Conference. I think that it could go either way. Like, the Wizards could win the game in Miami, Heat could win the game here. It could go either way. I guess I'll just add before we wrap up that game against the Hornets on Monday. Yeah, that game against the Hornets on Monday. That'll be going on during the show. That'll be the second time they played the Hornets. It'll be an interesting test, but that game's in DC as well, so I expect the Wizards. I think they'll win that game, but I still think Hornets might be a bit of a tough challenge for sure. I think the Wizards could be in for a promising week here. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes. They're top of the Eastern Conference right now. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see how the rest of the season goes. And with that, I guess we should turn things back over to the birthday man himself, CP3. We'll turn things back over to you, my man.
All right. Appreciate that. Let me get my camera back on. All right, there we go. Yeah, appreciate y'all breaking it down. Yeah, these Wizards are very playing some good ball right now. Wes Unseld Jr. has definitely put his mark on his team. I know in a couple of interviews that I've saw, the players that they're buying in, and you can definitely see that. I mean, you see defense, hustle, 60 minutes of, ball, or 48 minutes or whatever it is in NBA. It's, it's good to see this team, playing like that. Like I said, I haven't watched NBA basketball in a while, but I think I've seen at least, almost 80% of their games this year. So it's good to see that these Wizards are playing some ball. I didn't know how long it would take for them to get better and get to where they are at the top of the Eastern Conference. That's great to see, and hopefully they can keep it going. 10-3 is nothing to sneeze at in the NBA. But I'll go ahead and let you guys get out of here. DC's People's Champ. I know you got wrestling stuff going on, so let the folks know what you got going on before you get up out of here. Champ. Look like we lost.
He did the Irish goodbye, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, look like we lost Champ. All right, well, Tim, how you doing today, good sir? Appreciate you taking the time and get your final thoughts on what's going on the Monday Night Football game or Wizards or Washington football team or whatever.
No, I got to go to a Wizards game and a Caps game already this year, and I do have to say, I mean, both games were great, but the Wizards do have some new energy, so it was nice to feel that in the building, and really, really a great show tonight. Also, happy birthday to you. Glad you got a few DC victories for your birthday week.
Appreciate
Definitely
that.
a nice surprise there, and
Definitely.
yeah, just have a great rest of the show, and have a good night, everybody.
Oh yeah, we about to get out here. All right, Tim. Appreciate it. Catch you next week, man. Appreciate the breakdown.
All right, see
All
you
right,
guys.
all right. Room. What's going on? And I know you probably a piece of the RG3 cake. You probably cut his knee, didn't
Yeah, also maybe like whatever he maybe concussion where he didn't slide out of bounds.
So what the fuck?
Yeah.
You started your podcast back?
Not lately. I guess I'll get back on that and talk. There's a lot to talk about the Wizards winning and the football team. They ran the ball on that drive really effectively. I can't believe they didn't call a penalty on that passing play to McLaurin. I think that the refs wanted that game to go on a little bit longer.
Don't get me started on
But
some of the calls.
good that they got their revenge after the playoff win, and hopefully Heineke can keep it up because he hasn't looked this sharp. And against the Broncos, he didn't look that good. And Jalen Hurts looked really good against the Broncos. A pretty crazy week. So I guess like that bottom of the division, the NFC East is like they're all kind of playing a little bit better. So I guess I thought going into the season, this is the part of the schedule that not against the Bucks, but right now, this part of the schedule is where Washington can do well, so we'll see what happens.
Definitely, I definitely agree. But I appreciate you taking the time out as always, and we'll catch you next week for another great breakdown. And hopefully, another perfect week for the Wizards.
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Have a good night. All right, Brian. What's been going on your podcast with the Knicks? I think they still riding high. So what's been going on and what you got coming up?
Yeah, I took last week off from the podcast because, again, I've just been busy. I've been working a lot lately, so I took last week off. But I am gonna do a podcast this week at some point. I'm gonna talk about the Knicks who won tonight. They beat the Pacers tonight, and so yeah, I'm gonna do an episode about that, and plus all the other stuff going on in the sports world, the NFL and everything else going on in the NBA. So stay tuned for that. I'd also want to give a shout out to the Washington Spirit for making the NWSL final. That'll be next Sunday against the Chicago Red Stars. So shout out to the Washington Spirit. A lot of turmoil for that team, but they fought through all of the adversity and they are in the NWSL finals. So they absolutely deserve it. So shout out to them. I'm pretty stoked for them. And so yeah, thanks for having me on, Carol. Great night as always.
All right, no problem, Brian. As always, appreciate taking the time out, man. You have a good night. I'll catch you next week.
Yeah, man. Have a good night.
All right, thanks. And as always, it's end of the show. I always appreciate you guys checking us out, taking the time out to follow one of the best DC sports shows around. You know, we might not be on the mainstream, we might not get all the pub, but we definitely gonna bring you the best coverage around. Make sure you go check out the website, sportsothp.com, for all of our content, all of our shows. If you don't get a chance to check out the whole show live, you can always go to the podcasting platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Just put in Sports OTHP and it'll come up. When you go to the website, you can check out the apparel line. Click on the apparel button. It's wintertime is here. Got the fresh Washington football team hoodie. I just ordered me a couple of things myself. So make sure you go check it out. Good birthday, Christmas presents and such. Help support the movement. Make sure you check out At the Bar Radio in about 2 weeks. So we took off last week. Shout out to 151 and his the family. Passing up Uncle Tyrone. We'll be back on the air in 2 weeks. I think that's the Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll definitely be back on the air bringing you the best entertainment news, independent music, sports, politics, current events, and all the good stuff and the craziness that we do. And if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, inbox me or email me. You see all the graphics with my info up on the screen. Come on down to Waldorf Honda, 2450 Crane Highway. New, used, pre-owned, certified. We got it all. Also, if you're looking to save some money on your utility bills, gas and electric, hit me up. Got a program. You can sign up. Don't do anything different. Takes about 10, 15 minutes to sign up. Save you about 10 to 15% on your utility bills. Pay your bill the same way. You just save money. Which we all can do right now, especially with the holidays coming up. But on that note, I'm about to get out of here. I'm going to leave. Got to play some independent music. Before I get out of here, this song that I'm about to start out with is dedicated to the Washington football team fans. It's called Relax by Riff. And, I got to throw some Renegade on there also. So make sure you continue to check us out. Continue to follow us. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Carol Porter III. That's with 3 eyes, not the number 3. And go follow on Instagram, Carol Porter. On Facebook, Carol Porter III. Just go follow, brother. Trust me, you're gonna love what I put out there. You love our content and love what we do. But CP3, live from the lab. DC Sports without the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'm out.
Say hello. Hello. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah. We working. That's working hard though. Hey, listen. Hey, give me an hour. I'm gonna call you. Calm down. Relax. I got you. Hurry up. All right. Scream, we never talk, and I never get a chance to say. I know it's hard for you doing what I do, staying out at night. There's only one word for you that comes to my mind. Baby, you need to relax.
Pedro.
I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. But I dish it like I give it and go. Counting money while I chill at the stove. How I deliver, I've been at the dough. It's up to you how business will go. That 36 I get for the low. Count it up, no feelings will show. Spend so much, gotta get it some more. When they hands out, I just give them a no. How they always talk about me, but a nigga stand out. Watch out how you really walk up to me, that's a man down. All these niggas got these drums with them like a band now. I've been doing what I want, that's what you can't doubt. I've been just feeling myself. Do I just really need help? I got my weight up. I be just telling myself I got love for all of my dogs. I take a pay cut. Some niggas really gon' ride. Some niggas really gon' slide. So go say a prayer. We ain't never gotta slap five. Nigga, just pay your tithes and call me the mayor. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. Money. Money. I love that money.
Lucas.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. You don't really wanna play. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. You don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. It's money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Money, 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 make you shut your mouth. Don't never ever talk about it if you never had the clout. You don't know what to say, stay up out of my way. Cause money, 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 make me shut them off. Keep playing with these goonies, boy, I'm gonna have to make the call. Stay in bounds on your pivot, boy, if you gon' ball. Cause a lot of niggas be fake, and you really can't play. Cause we done got it out the mud, nigga, what you talking about? Screaming on my God, money got me pride. They living a lie, look into my eyes, they might seem surprised, this is homicide. We just multiply, we been on the rise. If we got some wings, fuck it, we gon' have to fly. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. Day in my life, I take me a different route. Use all my case, niggas on my face. You can get erased, what you talking about? Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. You never crossing these borders. I'm whipping it up, Gordon Ramsay. I swear that I'm cooking these orders. You talk about me, you better just hope that you can just really afford it. I'm ballin', I'm ballin', I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm feeling like Robert Tahori. Nigga, I'm scoring. I count in the morning. They talk about me, then I gotta ignore it. My bitches be foreign. So independent, my money be corporate. These raps is boring. You hate me and I'm always gonna adore it. I'm smoking that soaring. She always go ahead and let me explore it. I call her my Dora. You can go and talk about me, I ain't flawless. I go put my all in. If a nigga talk about me, then I'm gone in. You know that I'm gone in. Jump in, take trips, Pompeii. All day, always keep 3 stacks like Andre. I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it, man. And you can never, ever, ever get rid of that. So watch what you say, and watch how you do. If you play the game, then you play by the rules. Money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you been talking about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about. We don't really know what you always been talking about. And I don't wanna be the one who always really talk about. And you don't really wanna play. You don't know what to say. Cause money, 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 money's what I'm talking about.
Okay, that clean man. Yo, blackout, you know we have them get a blackout. I think I already know one. That's cool. Come and tell us I'm a body. Anything me say on me put on me fresh. Me never try on me put on me done. Image a crime for someone she lying if she tell you she fine cause she tell me a dumb. Look what me got on in a TV press. The pain of me make every neck a ton. If in your mind you got style you blind. Just check out to fly when you're done. Anyway she see me at the so she want forgive me. Cause me fresh me next to chilly. I'ma beat it for you. Never been in the Philly. But me got a gal a Philly. Can this gal if she got secret for you. Valentino wanna bop it with a buckle. I see rocking on me and I just see so got me team it there. But the fact that the mathematic up in on me and I'm in no afraid for squeeze. Cause the killer them out and bad. Anything me see on me put on me fresh. Me never try on me put on me done. Image a crime for someone she lying if she tell you she fine cause she tell me a dumb. Look what me got on in a TV press. The pain of me make every neck a ton. If in your mind you got style you blind. Just check out to fly when you're done. Dress up in a Fendi for me gal no look like Wendy. My buy my own cause me trendy, nobody no let me. Me nigga them the bomb me right and me gal no left me not a spot in a the spotlight. When she what you tell me, and me a Scorpio fully. Me nah go take the bully man, you want talk to me nigga them cause we psychopathic. She a dance fan body, me see gal a stucky better must come when me call me quick fi move on. Anything me see on me put on me fresh. Me never try on me put on me done. Image a crime for someone